Well, good morning, or at least it's morning here. I think this will probably be a short video, but what I wanted to point out is, you remember I made a video a few weeks ago about shadow work and how I don't think that that's, well, not only do I not think, I know that it is not of God. That's something that's, comes from the dark side. But anyways, in doing my research for that, because I wanted to understand what it was all about, one of the best descriptions that I came across was from a woman on YouTube, and she goes by the name of the Alchemist. And I watched a dozen or more of her videos, and she was born into a split family of a Muslim and Catholic. And so, let's see if I can play it. I've got the sound turned off, but you can see who she is. It's playing right now on YouTube. And she's got 100+ videos, I would say. And the reason I wanted to bring her up is because I'm trying to turn this thing off. There. I was impressed with her knowledge of spiritual matters, but her knowledge hits a ceiling. But here's what I'd like to focus on: the aspect of enlightenment and why everybody, including myself, says it's so difficult to experience or obtain, or why do you have to destroy everything before you get there, and all these sorts of things. And when I started to watch, probably 10 or more of her videos, maybe I skimmed through a lot of them, but I probably spent the better part of 5 hours of watching her videos over the course of the 2 weeks. And I concluded that she appears to be a good person, and she obtains her insight essentially from the astral plane. And I felt she was extremely knowledgeable about a lot of things. Okay, and I thought she was a good person. So that combination led me to a different thinking that I wanted you to experience, those of you who watch my videos, which are not very many. There's very few of you that watch my videos, and it's because I don't appeal to very many people in the world. And not only do I not appeal to very many people in the world, but the powers that be, call it the astral plane, call it the dark forces or whatever, they repress what I teach for good reason, because I teach against the God of this world. And so those of you that do see my video, I would actually like you to do this experiment, because there's no harm in doing this experiment. Watch her videos. She's called the Alchemist on YouTube. Watch her videos. Watch over the course of, I don't know what your free time is like, but not not so much that you're trying to understand what she's teaching. That's simply a byproduct of what I'm asking you to do. What I'm asking you to do is understand or try to be an empath. Try to understand who she is, what her life is. By the way, I've never talked with her. I've never communicated with her in any way, shape, or form. And I highly doubt that I ever will in this life. Not because I have anything against her, but just because. So, what I'd like you to do is watch 7, 8, 9, 10 of her videos, maybe 20 or 30 of her videos. What I'm asking you to do in doing that is try to put yourself in her shoes. Try to see life through her eyes. Try to be able to pretend like you're her and you've gone through life and you grew up and you experienced life through her experience. Try to be her through empathy, if you will. And the reason I'm saying this is because most of you live a different lifestyle. I know I did, and I do. And everyone, it's like, you know, I'm all over the map again here, but you know the story, how it's told, how the fish does not realize what water is because it lives in water. It's common to it, and so it doesn't realize really what it is. It doesn't stop to think about water. Well, that's what I'm asking you to do, is get out of your reality and into hers. And you can do that. I mean, people can do that. It's not easy, but you can, if you find out enough about a certain person and you watch enough videos or whatever, you can start to see what that person's life is really like. Now, the next step, after you've done that, after you've feel like you've got a great grip on who she is, what she stands for, what her beliefs are, and everything else, now here comes the big thing that I'm trying to teach you. Now you have to tell her, if you want to become enlightened, and her answer would be right there to cut you off and say, I already am enlightened. I don't need you to teach me something that I already know. So you continue. To become enlightened, you're going to have to renounce everything you've ever learned your entire life to this point in regards to spirituality. You are going to have to renounce everything you've learned. I'm going to have to tell you that you've learned all of this spirituality not from God, but from a fake God, from a fake reality. And it has inserted lies and half-truths. And though the truth you do have is probably much greater than the vast majority of people that teach spirituality, even though you don't know what is true and what isn't true, because you take everything that you've gotten and you've assumed it to be true because you feel it in your heart and soul. It has come to you through the astral plane. It has come to you through spirit sources and everything that you mention. And it isn't the proper source. You didn't get it from Christ. You didn't get it from God. You got it from a source that is fake. It is giving you, you're going to have to renounce it all and say, you know what, I made a big mistake in my life. None of that is the source. I have to renounce it all and realize that my life is a failure to this point. And not necessarily a failure, but I have put all my eggs in one basket, spiritually speaking, and now I have to get rid of that. And I have to humble myself and realize that I don't know everything, and that this other person who's telling me you have to renounce all that to become enlightened, you have to do that if you want to move beyond where you're at right now to the highest level of spiritual understanding that can be had in this reality. And that's a very difficult thing to do, because now what you're doing is you're in her shoes after you've spent enough time. And now you're realizing in your heart and in your mind the difficulties involved in doing that. But that's exactly what I'm telling you right now. Aside from her, your life, the spiritual life that you have led to this point in your life, everything, it has to be renounced. You have to humble yourself and go, you know what? Everything I've gotten is from an improper source. It isn't true. It isn't, maybe some of it's true, but it's not entirely true. That's a hard thing to do. It is actually probably the hardest thing I can imagine to move on spiritually. I can't imagine anything more difficult than that, because I had to go through it. It's extremely difficult. So why am I bringing that up? Because we're all in the same boat. We all have to go through that process if you want to become enlightened. To get to that point, everything you've learned will be reorganized after you become enlightened. But you have to give it up first, and then it can be reorganized after enlightenment, but not before. Excuse me. Okay, so here's the last thing I wanted to bring up. And I'm extremely reluctant to bring this up. Extremely reluctant. Because I won't say it's going to be taken the wrong way, but what I will say is it is going to destroy my connection with however many of you watch these videos. It will completely destroy our connection, and you will move on to someone else. If in fact, there are very many people that even watch my videos. Because you're going to disagree with me so profusely. And what I'm talking about is police officers. Call them cops. Excuse me, call them whatever you want throughout the world. But essentially, they are what they refer to as law enforcement. If you want to take the worst derogatory understanding, you can call them Nazis, attack dogs, mindless drones, demons. It's like you in let's say in old Chicago, where you're trying to run a business and you have to pay the mafia boss to protect you against whatever they say is another organization. So you hire the mafia boss, or you have to pay them or they'll shut you down or kill you. It's like hiring Satan to protect you against the demons, the lower demons. It's the same thing. Cops are in a situation just like I was talking about with the spiritual aspect, that they would have to denounce everything they're doing as being right. They would have to denounce that what they're doing, they've brainwashed themselves into believing that they are fighting crime and making this world a better world. But in fact, they're the lapdogs of the corporations and Satan himself and demonic forces and the like kind. They fool themselves by thinking they fight crime. Do they? Certainly they do in a small way. But they're not like firefighters. They're not like nurses. They're not like, you don't have to beat the hell out of someone because they're not obeying you. You don't have to pull someone over and, well, it's the law, so I'm going to write you a speeding ticket and destroy their family because they are financially strapped or whatever. But they enforce the law. They don't protect and serve anymore. They enforce the law. So, with that being said, what am I getting at? I'm getting at that if that particular lifestyle is what you're in, you have to denounce it. You can't live that lifestyle and expect to become enlightened. It's not possible. You can't get closer to God while you're beating the hell out of people. Jesus went out and served the less inclined. He went out to help. He went out to protect. It's, for instance, thou shalt not judge is a common thing in Christianity. And police obviously don't follow that rule. They judge and they act instantly. So what I'm saying is, in that respect, they have to change the way they are to instead helping people and helping the criminals. In other words, criminals that are murdering people need to be apprehended without disrespect. Now, maybe they deserve to be hung or killed or their life taken, but that's not their job to do it. There's ways to do that in a respectful way. I'm not going to go any further than that. I don't need to. I don't care to ever have this discussion again with anyone. I don't care to make myself clear. I don't care if it offends you. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just saying that that runs opposite of spirituality. And if you don't think so, you need to change or go watch some other videos by some other people, because I am not speaking from an ego base. I'm not speaking from a hateful base. I'm speaking from a base that understands truly what is going on in the world. And that is wrong. Dead flat wrong what they are doing. They don't think, they don't help, they enforce laws created by evil corporations and men. This world is the kingdom of Satan. This is not the kingdom of God. This is not a place that is pleasant for people that are kind-hearted. This is a place for evil, greedy, powerful people to exercise their rights and their privileges to destroy other people and lives and everything so that they can be proven worthy of their God and their glory can become in this life as well as in the next life. That's not what I teach. I teach love. I teach respect. I teach forgiveness. I teach essentially the philosophy of Christ. That's what I teach. And if that's something that you disagree with and you want to become spiritually enlightened, then you're going to have to divorce yourself from the reasons you think that what I'm saying is wrong. Anyways, in closing, I want to say again, I love you. I hope the very, very best for you. I hope the very, very best for the women that watch this channel. I hope the very, very best for the bachelors and for the married people. I hope and pray that all of you will become enlightened, that you will break through your spiritual barriers, that you will see the little things in life and recognize that There can be both a concept of heaven on earth at the same time that we live in a reality that is repressive with demons everywhere fighting against us. Nevertheless, that doesn't, all that does is makes it more valiant on your part that if you can see a way through all of this to love other people, to love those that do you wrong. Why do you love people that do you wrong? Because you don't know what they have gone through to get to that point in their life where they feel the necessity or the need to be evil or horrible or the things that they do to oppress you. You're not going to get the upper hand. If you're a good person, you're not going to get the upper hand in this reality. Recognize that. It's okay. You're not here to be a massive, powerful leader in this reality, the kingdom of Satan. What you're here for is to learn the powerful difficulties that confront us all and to respond with love. Because when you do that, you're making yourself stronger. You're making yourself more powerful. If you can see through the disgusting evil in this world and see the good and the love that is potentially there, that is an accomplishment. And when I was saying that, like the YouTube lady, the Alchemist, that woman there, when I was saying how she needs to give all that up, the reason I'm saying that is because it's like she goes to this level and this level and this level. But you need to break through all those levels. There can be no ceiling of levels if you are going to become enlightened. If you are going to become God enlightened, you have to break through all the barriers. And there's no way to do that without having a constant aspect within you of love, of recognition that whatever it is you think, that it doesn't matter, you're willing to give that up. The only thing you're never going to give up is love. That's the only thing you're never. If something doesn't, on a touchstone, if it doesn't have love attached to it, and you're being taught something and it doesn't feel right to you, then it isn't right. That's a different path. You're not going to follow that path. If you can feel the love in it, and the source is love, then follow that path. But recognize that path may have to be given up someday for a higher path that is love attached. Always recognize, no matter where you are, in any realm, in any reality, ever again, as long as you exist to the end of this kalpa of time, follow that golden string of love, and you will not, cannot go wrong. You may not attain all the things that you want to attain in this particular life, but I guarantee you, if you follow that path of love, you will. You can assure your place in the kingdom of God if you determine to follow love at all cost, no matter what. Lastly, recognize that men and women are different, and that all too often men have it within their mind and in their ideas and the way they think that they're superior, or that God only speaks to them. If they could just recognize and humble themselves and realize the most they could hope to understand with a male mindset is 50% of what's available. That's the best they could hope for. They have to rely upon women to understand from their perspective what is going to be taught through the spiritual channels of God. It has to come from women, and the women have to get from men. We're like forced together in this particular reality, and the channels of truth come to women and the channels of truth come to men, and it's different. And we don't work together because, well, men think that they are the ruling class, if you will. And that's why one of the reasons this world is so screwed up. You have to work together. I think with that, I'm going to close and tell you again, I love you, and I really hope the best for you. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being my friend. And I love you for that. We'll talk to you later. Bye.